Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movie Mandates, the show where my brother and I force each other to watch movies according to a monthly theme. I am Kelly.
And I am Andrew.
And this month's theme was Tearjerkers because we like to upset each other. No.
It's the entire premise of the show.
It really is. I'm like, what can I make you have to sit through?
Can I annoy my sister and make her cry?
So I mandated that Andrew and me watch Steel Magnolias. But we will get to that. First, Andrew gets to challenge me in this segment of Trivial Trivia. And I am ready.
You're going to like this because I've got an Oscars question for you.
Oh, I love the Oscars.
She loves the Oscars.
The best holiday.
So our main cast in Steel Magnolias: Sally Field, Shirley MacLaine, Olympia Dukakis, Julia Roberts, Dolly Parton, and Daryl Hannah.
Yes.
Between these six women, they have 16 Oscar things. Let me rephrase that. 11 nominations and 5 wins between them.
Okay, wow.
So, which of the main cast was nominated for an Oscar for this film, and did they win?
It's got to be Sally. And no, because she won for Norma Ray.
Let me check. Now, I told my sister that I was screwed over by a website. I'm looking at the awardsdatabase.oscars.org.
Okay.
So I have all the pages for these actors up. It times out after a while, and I had to redo all the searches.
If it's not Sally, I'm still going to say no one won.
Sally Field did win for Norma Ray, though. You are right about that.
But she wasn't even nominated for this?
Not for this film, no.
Then it was Shirley because Weezer was amazing.
She was, but no. Keep going. Keep trying.
I'm like, well, it's not Daryl. It's not Dolly.
Daryl's the only one who has 0 nominations and wins.
Yeah. I'm like, it's not Daryl. It's not Dolly. I don't think it's Julia. So I'm guessing, Olympia then. But still, I don't want... Okay. Was it really Julia Roberts?
Mm-hmm. She was
Why?
She was nominated for supporting actress. Did she win?
No,
she did not.
Because she won for Erin Brockovich and the bra that she wore.
Did, yeah. Well, her bra won Erin Brockovich, sure.
But she wore the most beautiful Valentino dress to accept her Oscar. And this is back in the day when she was with Benjamin Britt or Benjamin Branton or whatever Benjamin's last name was. He's a pretty man with dark hair. She's just gonna yell at that bug. No, and her Oscar speech was great, and that's better. But really, because she stood out to me as like everyone was. Well, I guess Daryl stands out to me. I'm not a Daryl Hannah.
She's certainly there.
She's there. She made it into the movie.
And she's fine. She's not bad.
No, here's
she's never
the thing.
bad. She's fine.
Her
kind of like Julia Roberts. She's fine.
She was fine. I mean,
they're both of them are being physically beaten into the ground by Olympia Dukakis, Shirley MacLaine, Sally Field, and even Dolly Parton.
And even Dolly, I know. I'm like, and even Dolly is doing incredible. She truly is a little spitfire of an actress.
I don't think Dolly acts so much as she just
is. She really is. No, Dolly is just. She just is there and does with everything.
Now, to be fair, not to sell him short, Sam Shepard, the guy who plays Dolly's husband, he is also an Oscar winner for the Right Stuff from years earlier. So,
and then we have who plays drum? What the heck is that man's name? Skerritt something?
Tom Skerritt.
Yeah, just everybody's dad. Tom Skerritt.
Just shooting at birds.
So first and foremost, let's get to it, brother. Did you cry?
Let's before we answer that, let me give you one more thing here.
More?
Obviously, Daryl Hannah hasn't been nominated or won, but
no.
Other than Daryl Hannah, who's the only one who hasn't actually won an Oscar? Sally Field, Shirley MacLaine.
Sally Field has. She has. She has.
Shirley MacLaine.
I mean, well, no, I think it's Olympia. Because Dolly's had to win for a song to 9 to 5 at some point, or something or other.
You're very close. Dolly Parton's been nominated twice. 9 to 5 was one of them. The other one was Traveling Through from Transamerica in 2005. Olympia Dukakis won for Moonstruck a couple of years earlier.
Her and Cher both won for Moonstruck?
I don't have the list for that film up, but I'm pretty sure Cher won that one. I think she won actor and
supporting
Olympia Dukakis won supporting.
So it is Dolly who didn't win. I would have thought that her song.
She's been nominated twice, but she's never won.
I would have thought that was the little curveball thing that like she has a song. Like, I mean, Eminem's an Oscar winner. So,
yeah. But six leading cast members. Edward Norris, Sam Shepard. 16 nominations between them and 5 wins.
Oh yeah, cast. It's a stacked cast. It was very I always knew it was ensemble heavy. Like, I mean, I knew the people in it, but like you just don't think about it until you see it. And then I'm like, dang, that's incredible. And honestly, before we get to did it make you cry? There was a moment watching it the other night that I thought to myself, I'm like, I could have definitely done this for quintessential 80s because that hair where it's at. The hair in this movie makes me just so happy. It's really, I love the scene where Daryl Hannah is doing Dolly's hair and Dolly has that little plastic face shield for the hairspray. And I've never seen a face shield. Actually, that is untrue. I have an opera, powdered wigs, that whole thing. It's a prop that we've used, but like I've never seen one like that. I've never seen one used in the way that it was used here. And I was just like, it just makes you think to yourself when you go back, like, wow, we had to protect ourselves from the amount of we were putting right on our heads. Like it's just amazing. Like how much hairspray and how much chemicals and how much we used like that was in style.
It was interesting though, because while the big hair was still there, shoulder pads had gone out by that point. The big especially in women's fashion, the big lady shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Okay, so cry or no cry. First, my joke answer. My joke answer is yes, I cried because I was pretty convinced that the violinist on the soundtrack was trying to kill me. I'm like, Jesus Christ, stop. When the film tonally switches to this is super serious, violinist, do your thing. I'm like, oh my God, they're going hard. This is a light, fun slice of life comedy until
it isn't
the low blood sugar attack, and then there's this sustained violin.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my God. And then the funeral at the end, it's just what I was like, please don't hurt me. It's like, cry, you son of a bitch, or I will shove this what is the violin bow up your butt. Okay, joke answer done. Real answer. I felt pressure behind my eyeballs, but it didn't quite get to flowing.
So when? Because I'll tell you my moment.
Probably after spoilers for a 30-year-old movie. After Julia Roberts, they pull the plug on her. It's the funeral scene with Sally Field. With holy shit, what a performance there! Just cycling through all the emotions from anger to despair to just incredulous laughter and just amazing. And it's partly the performances of our leads in this sequence, and also this comes after the last 12 minutes of the movie with no break of
Yes.
Julia Roberts, Sydney, what's her name?
Okay, Shelby.
Shelby, thank you. Shelby collapses, and then she's on life support for an extended period of time, and then they pull the plug, and then they mope around. That's a mean thing to say. And then they're sad, and then they do the funeral, and then they have the after funeral. This is like 12.
It's a good amount of time.
Minutes of the movie, so all of that coming at you, I think, probably contributes to the verklumptedness.
Yeah,
but I'd say it's
Sally
lead, particularly
100%. I 100%, because I'm like, I was with you. I'm welled up. It's sad. You see it coming from a mile away, like, and they try to get you because they're like, oh, she's gonna die in childbirth, and then they're like, oh, and he's turning 1, so you're fine, and you're like, okay. And I'll talk about something else about that scene in a moment. But when they were at the funeral,
Julia Roberts' missing head?
Yes, but why?
I looked this up. There's actually a reason.
Was she not there that day?
No. The little girl who was playing the
baby,
Jake Jr., whatever the kid's name is,
Jackson Jr. or whatever his name is, Dylan McDermott's baby.
He was fussy, or she was fussy and crying, and so they had to replace Julia Roberts
with the mother,
with his actual mom, which is why she's cropped out of the shot. I totally thought they were gonna like pan up and she was gonna be like comatose or something like that.
So did I. I was expecting. So let's set the scene really quick for anyone who didn't watch over the last 2 weeks. Didn't find time to watch the movie with us. Shelby has low blood sugar. Julia Roberts' character, and Sally Field is her mother, and they set it up beautifully at the early onset of the movie that she goes into diabetic like shock and coma. She gets crazy, and they have to go through it, and it's one of those things that she shouldn't have kids. It's not that her biology doesn't work, it's just her body won't be able to handle caring for another child. But of course, Shelby, in her that's all she wants, is to have a baby, to be a mom. And of course, they're not going to adopt to someone with my medical history, so she needs to have one the old-fashioned way. And Julia Roberts and Sally Field get into it, because Sally Field's like, you're basically killing yourself, and I can't watch my daughter do this. And she's like, can't you be happy for me, mama? And it's like, I can't be, that whole thing. And then it cuts a year later, and 80% of the time, the movie does a great job with time management and showing you
first one threw me for a loop, but once I said, oh, okay, we're going to be doing,
but there's a few other times that I'm like, okay, I've lost track of times, especially like, how long is she in a coma? Because it starts at Halloween, but this isn't a place that gets snow. And so since it's an always sunny place, I'm like, because brother and I grew up in Arizona, winter is still shorts, and it's January, so
they pretty much just use holidays.
They do just really use holidays.
It starts on Easter, then it jumps to the following Christmas,
and I believe
it jumps to 4th of July,
and then it jumps to Halloween,
and then the
following Easter. So her being Shelby, Julia Roberts, and Malin, which is Sally Field's character's name. There's a lot of very interesting names in this movie. Wheezy, Drum.
I thought through half of the movie that Shirley MacLaine's name was Weezer. I thought they were like, is it because she has a hacking cough from smoking or something? But no, her name's like Louisa Bordeaux or something like.
Yeah.
It's French.
But so it is true that they are at each other's heads or backs or necks or whatever. Throats. I'm like,
whatever body part.
There's a body part
sure.
in there and they're at
it. That's right.
And then it cuts to a year, like the first birthday of the child, and they're all sitting around a table singing happy birthday, but Julia Roberts is nowhere to be seen. Not even like in a full frame, you see her red flowing hair from the back. It's just close up of people on.
There's the first establishing shot from about 500 feet away.
Yeah.
That you can see they're all sitting at like a picnic table in a backyard or something like that.
And they have a candle and a cake and they're going around, and then it shows the baby on her lap, and you don't see
framed right here, top of the frame is at her neck.
It is at her neck. You do not see her. It never. And
that's her.
Thought the same thing. I was like, oh, she's going to be comatose. Yeah, she's going to be in a whatever. And then I saw her like playing with the kid, and I'm like, okay, why aren't
she bounces him a little bit.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, there is. I get why they had to do what they had to do, and I am happy they didn't go the way of what they did to poor Mr. Bradley Cooper in American Sniper. So at least there's that. But at the same token,
the doll.
When he had to like physically manipulate the hand, and you could watch him manipulating it, and you're like,
no, don't worry, we'll fix that and put. This isn't going to make me look stupid right now. We'll fix it in post. Oops, forgot.
Forgot to fix that in post.
On the other hand, it does look better than the baby in the later Twilight movie that they, for some reason, CG its face.
Oh, I stopped after the second movie.
Miasma or whatever the hell her name is. I don't know. I never watched I've never seen the movies or read the books. I've just seen some clips here and there. I'm like,
oh wow, my gosh.
That is distressingly awful.
There you go.
I haven't seen, I think American Sniper is that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but I've seen that clip. I'm like, oh.
And that's it. Like,
I'm so sorry.
It's terrible. It looks like, it definitely looks like pre-editing, but it's not.
Ran out of money, ran out of time.
So Shelby and Jackson, her husband, have a baby. A year later, everything's fine, but it did take a toll on her body, and she's going to need a kidney transplant. And of course, her mother is more than happy to give her a kidney. And then they do the transplant, and it goes well. So it's like they really are trying. It's like they're setting up that like she's overcoming these obstacles, but like, you know, in your heart of hearts, you're like, she's not going to make it through this movie, or someone else isn't going to make it. Something's going to give. And then of course something does give. And Julia Roberts.
They're either going to have some really weird turn where Shirley MacLaine dies in a fiery car explosion or some weird thing.
Right.
Or the magnolia tree falls on her or something like that. But,
right.
No. She
goes into a coma and dies. And then they do exactly what you said, brother, like all that setup, and it's kind of quiet. There's a lot of violin. And then it was when Sally Field is standing alone. So it's like they've just had the funeral and the casket's there. It's the outside in the cemetery, and people are leaving, except for our core, I think it's 5 women who are, the backbone. Yeah, right. Because the other one
was 6.
Passed. It was 6. So, anyways, it's the the backbone ladies all go over to
5 a baker's half dozen, maybe. I don't know, or would 7
no, that'd be like 6.5. And then it shows Sally, and I looked at her and I went, "Ah, shit," because I knew. I'm like, this woman is going to do, because she looks very stoic, but there's so much going on behind her eyes and in her tightness of her lips and everything. And I knew she was going to get me. And I was like, I hate you right now because I know what you're about to do. And you're going to do it really well. You little 4-foot amazing woman. But like, and she's not that short, but like compared to Julia, I'm sure that anyone would look 4 foot. But like that's why it's a missed opportunity for her, have her not nominated for this movie.
I'm genuinely surprised that the only cast member in this film that got nominated was Julia Roberts, who again
was fine. She was fine,
yeah,
but she's not Shirley MacLaine.
So is Daryl Hannah. She's fine.
She's so
when we a couple things I wanted to say. We touched briefly on this. The film generally does a really nice job without beating you over the head with time jumps, just organically showing through. Look what holiday it is. Look, Daryl Hannah is wearing contacts instead of glasses now. Oh, look, a baby. I thought it did instead of title card 7 months.
Yeah, it did a really good job that way.
Another thing that it did really well is after there's a scene where Julia Roberts collapses, and then it cuts to another scene where the father comes home, and the camera is in the kitchen, and you just see the bouillabaisse or whatever the hell was on the stove just boiling over, and you can hear the kid sitting in the
and he crying. Is,
and that was a really well done. It's clearly been an hour or two that she had that she collapsed, and it's like, oh no, she didn't make it.
No, she didn't. But I will say the one thing, as wonderful as that scene was, the fact that the child is sitting there crying and pointing.
What is it? Where's your mom?
And Dylan picks him up and goes exactly everywhere that he's not pointing.
Shelby.
And then he looks
like, Shelby.
And I'm like,
and the kid's like,
freaking right there, Dad.
I'm like, I know, I'm sitting here on the couch. I'm like, he's friggin' pointing, you jackass.
I'm like, to be clear, I don't like listening to my children either. But
I never listen. Yeah.
But at the same token, it's kind of hard when he's holding the child and the child is turning around like, it's over there. You should see. But anyways,
something else that the movie had. The movie has no subtlety with its soundtrack, but one other piece of subtlety that I really admired was Dolly Parton's husband. He's the sad sack, down on his luck, can't get a break, so all he wants to do is sit at home and watch TV and drink beer. He never wants to hang out with his wife, who is Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
So you think, okay, what's the character arc? He's going to realize what he's been missing out on and change his ways and and oh, my love, I've been such a fool. I'm going to cater to your every whim, and we're going to go to the lake together and blah, 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 blah. No, it's not that cheesy, but he does have a moment where he's like, man, I haven't been paying attention to my wife, who's Dolly
Parton.
Maybe I should engage in some self-reflection here.
Yeah. So he did that really well too.
And he doesn't get there by the end of the movie, but it looks like he is starting on that journey, and that's not typically how these kind of movies would handle something like that. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, I was very away from the tear-jerking moment. I definitely think it fit the bill. Someone died and life goes on, and it's like that. I mean, life itself is just a sad thing. So these kind of movies that just kind of show the circle of life, so to speak, are always going to be a little, but I really loved how in '89, these were some really powerful women. They had their shit together. It was a movie about women. They were awesome. However, as awesome as that, and I loved everything in the core group of these ladies. I loved their banter. I loved how they spoke to each other. There were some amazing one-liners. I wish I wrote them down, but I didn't. But like, I mean, there's a lot of really funny things that happen throughout the movie, just like little off-the-cuff things that you're like, man, this is great. And Olympia
has something like, I've just been in a bad mood for the last 40
years.
Oh
yeah, I'm not depressed. I've just been upset for 40 years. And you're like, oh my God, it's so hilarious. And it's just, I've been in a bad mood for 40 years. And like her and Olympia are just amazing together. So all of this, happy, estrogen filled film, I was also just so taken with how miserable they all are in their love lives. Even Julia Roberts, she's about to get married, so it opens on her wedding day. She's getting ready, and then he comes and sneaks in and meets her, and she's still kind of like, oh, we'll see if you make me happy. Maybe I won't. Like, she's not even convinced about marrying this guy who literally looks like a Ken doll with brown hair. Like, he has never looked real. The only other person who has ever even come close to like that is Patrick Dempsey.
It's
And
Dylan McDermott.
yes.
Yeah.
And then you have her mother, who is Sally Field, married to Tom Skerritt in this movie, and he is a crazy guy who I love his character. His name is Drum.
Yeah.
Yep. And I love his character. He's shooting at pigeons to get them out of trees or crows or whatever that is, and he's just kind of a crazy guy, and she does nothing but complain about him. And they talk about how they're not in love, and then he seems very loving towards her sometimes, but she's always like, oh, I hate you, stop touching me. And then you look at Dolly and like what you just said about Sam Shepard and her relationship, it's kind of like he's been ignoring her. And then you have Daryl Hannah and her husband. How on earth they decided to ever get married? I thought they were breaking up the scene before it was Kevin her wedding shower.
Yeah, I thought her first, she's introduced, her husband is like ditched her because he had to run from the law or something like that, and then she meets Kevin J. O'Connor at a wedding, and
he's so sweet, and you think, oh, and then they become an item, and you're like, oh, yay. And then you get to actually see them together, and it's like, oh God, you guys are awful. And he's angry at her and she's angry at him, and then the next scene is her wedding shower, and I'm like, or bridal shower, I guess that's what it's called. I've never been married. And then she's pregnant, and like they're actively arguing at the Easter thing, and then her water breaks and he gets on the back of a scooter and goes. But I'm just like, it was so hard for me to be so excited about this film when
friendship is good, I guess. Make sure you keep your buddies around, because your marriage just blows.
It was almost like the only true love that you can have is the love of your girlfriends, the love of your friends, if you are like me and you have male friends. But and I'm just like, I feel so bad because I have Jeremy. But it is also sad, because I also think to myself, is that what we think is okay? Like, because even though they complain about it in the movie, they don't complain about it in any sort of, I mean, I've vented about my other. I'm positive he's vented about me. There's never an anger there. Sometimes it's like, yeah, he didn't put up the shelf today.
I get this sense that it's all of these folks and all these couples in the film, combination of era and geographical location. I get the sense that they all married broadly because they felt that that's just what they were supposed to do, rather than, and it's not like some of them don't even like their partners. Like Sally Field and Tom Skerritt seem to get along fine, but there doesn't seem to be any, they have no connection, they have no love. They had 3 kids, that's about it. He seems like a perfectly pleasant guy, and he's just happy to be around, but there's nothing between them. Daryl Hannah and Kevin J. O'Connor get hitched, but I mean, they just were dating, and because they are constantly frustrated with each other. I get the sense that most of these characters married probably one of their first
that's true too,
serious relationships, probably because it's like, well, that's just what you do.
That's true. I guess
you get married.
I mean, this was in '89, and they were established, ladies at that point. I guess that's true. In their age, they would, in their day, they would have been getting married probably right out of high school, or in, right in the early 20s, as in not the decade, but in the
Olympia Dukakis is a widow, I think. Her husband's dead.
yes.
Right? And Shirley MacLaine just divorced like three of them.
Three of them. Right? Which is funny because in this movie, both Shirley MacLaine and Wheezy have like tons of money, and it's mentioned so much money they have. And I always think, because I'm curious, I guess, I'm like, is it a lot of money because of the town they live in?
Or the small town, probably.
I'm like,
they're probably wealthy.
I mean, they're probably wealthier than me.
Of that town
then I'm in a lot of debt. So there's
what I got. Also, here's a thought: how many goddamn Easter eggs do you need? Because seriously, she had well over 1,000 in the trunk of her car.
And like, yeah.
Those are 30 eggs to a flat, and she had like stacks of 6, and at least like
so
10 of them. It's like, why?
So many eggs. Her entire trunk was filled with Easter eggs.
Yeah. I mean, they're true. They're going to be doing. They're going to hide them in the park, and it's going to be all the neighbor kids are coming down. It's like, yeah, but is it like 500 or is it literally like 100 or 150 kids, or is it like 20?
Yeah,
you probably only need like 200 or 300 eggs, not 1,200.
Yeah.
This movie sucks because of the eggs.
Because that kids' favorite thing is to eat those eggs too. Because you got to feed those kids those eggs.
I'd be like, hey. Where's the plastic ones with the actual candy inside?
I've had a hard-boiled egg for 3 days in a row. I need some M&Ms. Like, bring me the melted chocolate that has been manhandled and put into the middle of these eggs, and I would like to eat it, please.
So the theme of this movie.
Yes, please go. Enlighten.
As we've discussed, is that marriages are by definition unhappy and unfulfilling. Yep. So make sure that you have a posse of really good friends.
Excellent. I am not married.
Yeah.
And I have a posse of great friends. So I am good to go.
And the other one is listen to the advice of medical professionals.
So, and this is not going to...
Lest death and despair permeate throughout your social circles.
Here's something that I find very funny about the whole listening to the medical professionals, because again, Julia gets pregnant. It's not a great idea. It makes Sally Field very upset.
Well, she's just scared.
And it's very, oh gosh, yes. She just doesn't want to lose her daughter. It's not that
child. It's just, it's not worth the risk. Just adopt. And there's the line. It's like, well, I mean, they're not going to adopt me because I have a which is like, I don't know. Is that the way it works? Probably. I
think maybe 30 years ago, maybe. I think now there would be different, because again, there was a scene that really upset me, and it was when Shelby got all of her hair chopped off.
Mm-hmm.
So Sally Field is on the way to the salon, which Truvy, another great name. Dolly Parton's name is Truvy.
Not Trudy.
Truvy. I know. I have a lisp, so it's hard to understand me sometimes. So Sally Field was, visiting her daughter, and she's like, I'm going to go get my hairs did. And Julia runs out of the house and is like, oh, I want to come with you. I want to get my hair done. I want to cut it all off. It's just so much easier. Let me just go tell Jackson that I'm going with you. And it's like, oh, great. Yeah, of course. Just go, whatever. That's cute. She's going to get her hair chopped off. And then it cuts to the beauty parlor where they're getting their hair done, and she gets her hair chopped off. And the baby's there crying and doing stuff. And the thing that upset me about the scene was, if she ran back into the house to tell her husband that she was going to go get her hair done, that means that somewhere in there, he said to her, well, you can't leave me alone with our child. So you're going to have to take the child. Yeah, right. I don't ever listen to him. He points. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Oh, look, so he's pointing.
So you're going to have to take the child to this hair salon. And so it reminded me of that point when, my Jeremy, I point because I can hear him. He's always been so upset whenever anyone says to him, oh, you're babysitting tonight. And he's like, they're my children. I don't babysit my children. They are my children. And I just feel like that's how men 30 years ago, that's not just how they felt, but also kind of how they were treated. And so
how dare you saddle me with my child?
Right. And so for her to say, like, no one's going to adopt to me 30 years ago, they probably could give a loaded crap about the father because he's not raising the child. The mother is, and she has health problems, so she's not going to be there. Nowadays, we realize, oh, hey, sometimes it's two people, you know. But they also talk about in that scene. So anyways, that scene really pissed me off. I was like, why is that baby in the salon? Why couldn't he just stay with his father? Like, that's a perfectly safe.
I'm gonna get my hair done. Can you watch the kid? Of course I can watch my own child. While you do a thing.
Yeah. But they also talk about they might just buy a baby, like a black market baby. She like they actively in this movie, and I was they're like, well, you know, if I can't have one naturally and I can't adopt, we've tried to find a place to buy one, and I'm just like, they're actively talking about a black market baby.
Daryl Hannah's ex-husband.
And let's be clear, I would have no idea how to get anything for anyone. Like, how do you even attempt to find a baby? Like a human?
I don't even know where to get drugs. Well, I mean, marijuana is sold in a lot of stores.
I was going to say, I'm like,
now, but you know, 15 years ago, if I wanted marijuana, I'd be like, I don't know where the hell to go or who to ask.
Yeah, it's just, we're so lame. We're just so lame. But yeah, no, it's interesting. But yeah, so black market babies. It didn't happen. She had little Jackson and it ends quote unquote happily. It's truly just a cycle of life because Shelby gets married, she has a kid, she passes, Daryl Hannah gets pregnant and basically says we're going to name our child Shelby because it's because of Shelby that we met. And then at the very end of the movie, water breaks, run off to the hospital, credits roll. And it was just very interesting to watch this movie. How much did you know going in?
Nothing. I mean, I knew I knew the cast.
Sure.
Heard of the movie. I was pretty sure someone was going to die because it's a tearjerker. And
unless the dog bit it, and then it was really then we'd really be sad. That's poor Rhett.
But yeah, I had no idea what this movie was about, and I didn't even bother watching a trailer before I turned it on. So
I was gonna ask you one more thing about it. Oh, all right, brother, you dramaturge. Why is it called Steel Magnolias?
That's an excellent question. And it's because Shirley MacLaine actually says it in the beginning of the movie. Hey, Tom Skerritt, don't steal my magnolias. I don't like it when you steal magnolias from my yard.
So different spelling. Different spelling.
Oh, is it Steel?
That would.
My theory is shot. I was like, they said the thing. They said, don't steal magnolias.
Title.
She said the title.
That's my favorite thing in any movie. When they say the title, they're like, oh, we're going to be stuck in rush hour. No.
The worst is actually, I think one of my favorite series for that is the James Bond films. You always want to know where they're going to work it in. And then they did GoldenEye, where they say it about 500 times throughout the film because it's just the name of the damn spy satellite. It's like, we need to go get GoldenEye. We need to shut down GoldenEye. Oh, GoldenEye. It's like, oh. It's a
Skyfall takes like 2 hours, and then you're like, oh, my old homestead, Skyfall. You're like, there it is.
Or, tomorrow never dies, die another day. You only live twice. The world is not enough. It's in what context are they going to get someone to say that? It's like, I said the thing. Yeah. I don't think she quite says, did you steal magnolias from my yard?
She says, are those my magnolias? And
she implies
they talk about like it's unsure whose tree it truly is, type of thing, because there's branches that go over.
There's a magnolia tree on the border between Tom Skerritt, Sally Field's house, and Weiss's house. So there's your magnolias, and they do say at the end of the movie when what's her face? Shelby's being the plug is pulled. Sally Field's in there, the husband, Dylan McDermott's in there, and Tom Skerritt's in there. And as her heartbeat slows down, both the husband and the father can't take it and leave the room, leaving Sally alone to hold her daughter's foot or hand or wherever. I think she's at the foot of the bed. I don't know if she's holding her.
She's holding her hand, brother.
Okay, she's at the side. Because in my head, I'm like, she's at the foot of the bed. She couldn't reach her hand. Is she holding her foot? She must be on the side of the bed. Whatever. Okay, so she stays in there because she's got the steel magnolias to do it. And
exactly.
She talks to her friends later about it. She's like, I thought men were supposed to be made of steel, but they all left.
Yep.
The little wusses. I stayed in there, kept my daughter company as she passed.
Yeah. It was funny because it was one of those moments for me when she was over the casket. She's like, I thought men were supposed to be made of steel. I'm like, there it is. Yeah. Yeah. Did you like it?
Before I answer that, I want to point out one more thing. Have you seen the stage play that this is adapted from?
Yes.
You have? Okay.
Well, yes.
What I heard is that the men in these women's life never actually make an on-stage appearance. They're heard yelling or something like that, but there are none of the male cast members are actually on stage.
Correct. It's all that. And I've only done the first act.
I totally get why they don't do it that way for the film, but that's an interesting. I can totally see how that would work with the stage version of this story.
Yeah.
So, did I like it? It's all right.
Yeah, I know.
I like a lot about it.
Yes.
I love our leads. I love Olympia Dukakis and Shirley MacLaine. And I love Sally Field and Dolly Parton. And Daryl and Hannah.
She's in the movie.
Julia Roberts are there.
They're in the movie.
There too. I genuinely like a lot about it. But as a film, I'm like, it's all right.
I would agree. And it was a very interesting feeling for me because it had all the good parts. Like there was a lot of good and a lot of fun, and I wasn't bored. I didn't think I wasn't.
It's a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, I wasn't bored. I was never like there was never a moment that I thought, okay, that was unnecessary. There's nothing that's superfluous. It's a really well-paced movie. Every now and then, like we Julia Roberts head chop off random moment, and the fact that Dylan McDermott won't listen to his child.
I thought Sally Field might haul off and punch Daryl Hannah at the very end of the movie when Daryl Hannah is trying to comfort her. I'm like, oh God, Daryl, read the room or read the cemetery. Just no. I will say I wonder, and I know it's unfair, but this is our podcast.
I wonder if Daryl's character didn't sour a little bit of the movie for me, and maybe it was so her character has an incredible arc, but I feel like it is unfinished. Sam Shepard's is unfinished, but he's also not a main character. It's just so nice to know that there's a background character that actually has a feeling of he belongs in this world as well, which is what was so lovely about that scene. But so Daryl is this meek, very shy, very, I can't do anything right. I shouldn't look people in the eye. I don't trust my skills type of girl, and she's on the run with, not with, from possibly her criminal boyfriend, husband, who knows, she doesn't know. She's very concerned.
Because she's not sure if the marriage is
legal
or not.
And so then the next time we see her is like the holidays, several months later at the holidays, and she's wearing contacts. Her hair is big old frizzy and teased. She's wearing a great little sequiny, shimmery number. And Shelby is like, oh, look at you. And apparently she went through a transition of, my husband was captured, so I kind of became this party girl for a while, but Dolly set me straight and I'm better now, but I did do a little partying and now and so I thought, oh, that's good. She's caught up. She's going to gossip with them. She's going to be cool. And then they do another time jump and she has really gone down the religious path to the point of you want a Decker. You do, but
stop it.
And not just that, but I'm like, why did they also keep her around? I mean, I get ride or die, but at a certain point, like, it's amazing that she is still in the foundation of those four when it does really feel like she has moved away from them.
And this is a group that includes Ouisa, who's just an asshole.
Right. I mean, I guess, but there's obvious love.
Asshole.
There's obviously love between them, but it's like and then Daryl stays that way for the rest of the movie. Just deep. So much.
That's her name.
Yeah, Annelle, whose name I could never remember her name throughout the whole movie. Every time they said it, I'm like, that's right, her name's Annelle.
Right. Gone.
I can remember Drum and Spud and Malin and Shelby and Clary and Ouisa, but I can't remember Annelle. Like, I just couldn't do it. And Truvy.
It's M''Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn. Okay, cool.
Malin. So her character arc was cool, but it never went, okay, I went too far in the partying. And then I went too far into the religion. Maybe I need to. So I thought at the end, like especially during her bridal shower, and she gets the lingerie and stuff, I thought it would be a little bit. She'd get back to the okay, I can still be religious, but no, she starts just going down on her knees and praying all the time. Yeah. And Dolly's like, oh my gosh, she prays all the time now, and I'm just like, why did we do this to this character?
Yeah. So I thought it would have been interesting to see her ping pong back and forth between extremes, and then even like Sam Shepard, she doesn't get to her ultimate destination, but looks like she may be heading that way. But
maybe not. But she just
hit there and stayed there.
She just hit there and stayed, and it was really like, oh. But I don't know. I liked a whole bunch about it, but I can't say that I don't. It left me. And I don't know. I'm so happy I've finally seen it. Yeah. Let's be real. I'm very happy that I have finally seen it. It was not the only movie I watched. Yes. No. In fact, and we can talk about this after we stop recording, I actually did watch another movie yesterday as well. Okay. Ensemble cast. Very good. Much better, but that's okay. So but you know what? We cried. Or at least had some feels.
I had some pressure behind my eyes. I'm pretty sure it wasn't just a headache. So the movie was working.
If you wake up tomorrow with pink eye, I'm going to be like, come on, man. Yeah. It was conjunctivitis all along.
Dolly Parton, Sally Field, especially towards the end of the movie, is just fascinating to watch, just from a foreign standpoint. Dolly Parton is just a charismatic joy. Olympia Dukakis is hilarious because her character is just she's done and she's just enjoying the rest of her life now. She's very happy all the time, even when other people are down on their luck. She's having a good time. I mean, she's commiserating with them, but she's just enjoying life. And
even when she's sad, she's happy. Because at the beginning of the movie, she's like, I have nothing to live for anymore. I mean, I really like football, but it's not something to live for. And she says it, she's almost joyful. And it's like, oh, well, Football's not
But
something
I
to
did
live
buy a
for.
radio station,
But
and now I'm doing an interview in the locker room. There's a bunch of naked guys. It's pretty cool.
It's very funny.
And Shirley MacLaine, Lisa, who's just a delightful misanthrope throughout the entire movie. She's also in the she's with her friend Olivia Dukakis in the dressing room. She's like, "This is stupid, and this is beneath me."
It's so funny. So that was and this is the last thing I'll say because I know it's getting on time. But when she's in the locker room just sitting there waiting for Olympia to be done with her, color commentating, all I could think of is I'm waiting for her to pull her phone out and take like pictures. I'm like, oh, this is 89. She can't do that. But I was really in my head, I'm like waiting for it because I'm like, that now it would be like one of those.
Well, she does take out her compact mirror and just
to do it.
looking at some of the dudes behind her. So
she definitely is taking a look at everyone's third leg. So
yeah,
there you go. Nice. Well, that ends Tearjerker month. Aww, and now we can cry about it ending. Well, okay, dry those tears because Movie Mandates continues next month. On the complete opposite spectrum, we are entering March Madness. And we are starting with my brother's pick.
Drive Angry.
I can't wait. When you say that, all I can think of is Bill Murray and the groundhog. Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry. Because I've not heard of Drive Angry. What year? Or what?
Nicolas Cage, maybe 2008, 2010, somewhere around there. I believe the premise is he has to drive, and he has to drive angrily to escape hell or get his wife or daughter or girlfriend's soul out of hell, or something to do with hell, which requires him to drive and do so angrily. Yes.
Oh, I'm all in.
So
I'm excited.
Yeah, I've not seen it either. So yeah, I hope for angry driving, car stunts, crashes, explosions. That's what I'm looking for.
Well, good. I can't wait to watch it, and you can watch it too. Check out the description in the show notes where you can watch it. And until then, catch Movie Mandates on YouTube or listen to it in podcast form on iTunes. I don't think I have the updated thing that tells people to like and subscribe.
Okay. Let's see. If you enjoy the show and would like to help us reach a wider audience, engagement is key. So if you're watching on YouTube, like and comment. And if you're listening on iTunes, rate and review. Much obliged, y'all. Much
obliged! All right, I'm Kelly, and you can follow me at Get Isengard.
And I'm Andrew. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen.
And we hope you enjoyed this episode of Movie Mandates. And we'll be back soon with another mandated movie.
Bye!
Bye!